Canada is an interesting country when it relates to vehicle brands and their production. Canada is currently the 13th largest auto producing nation in the world and 7th largest auto exporter by value, producing 1.4 million vehicles and exporting $32 billion worth of vehicles in 2020 alone. With such a robust array of assembly plants, you would assume the Canadian branded car manufacturers thrive, but in fact, Canada's automakers are those with headquarters in the US or Japan. So while Canada does have a thriving auto industry, there really isn't a homegrown brand to stroke national pride. While a few brands over the years have started in the Canadian market, due to consolidation and pure market domination from the American Big Three, it was clear that there was no room for a large volume Canadian manufacturer. So while a Canadian brand could never hope to become a market leader, a boutique brand was well within the realm of possibility, and in fact, several have attempted and a few have succeeded to different degrees. Multimatic, an Ontario-based company, is the build partner for the new Ford GT, where each one is built by hand, and in addition, Multimatic also supports and runs multiple racing programs throughout the world. While this is all great, and Canadians have reason to be proud of their workforce and their impact on the auto industry, one company decided that Canada deserves something of its own: a supercar. A point of clarification, several companies throughout the years have attempted the first Canadian supercar with very little success. And by little success, I mean never anything more than a concept car, and in fighting over who is truly the first. We are not going to get into that debate. We're just going to leave that debate up to our friends to the north and talk about one such example from a company known as HTT, or High Tech Toys, a Quebec-based company first introducing their supercar attempt at the 2007 Montreal International Auto Show as a pre-production prototype under the name of Locus. The LC-750 was to feature a supercharged 6.2-liter V8 with 750 horsepower, 655 pounds of torque on a supercharged LS V8 from the Corvette ZR1, or an 1100 horsepower engine backed by Pratt & Miller. The chassis and body were being made completely out of carbon fiber, with no engine subframe, with their claim of it allowing extra rigidity, on top of having a monocoque tube with most of its potential supercar rivals. Due to the chassis being made for the vehicle, they claimed a weight of 2,401 pounds and an estimated 0 to 60 time of 2.8 seconds. As for the styling, you may feel as though you've seen this car or parts of it across different supercar manufacturers, and well, that is because it is heavily influenced by several. They took heavy influence from the Ferrari F430. The side profile looks like that of a McLaren MP4 12C. It features scissor doors reminiscent of a Lamborghini, a middle seat configuration like that of a McLaren F1, and body lines influenced by the Bugatti EB110. The LC-750 had an overall ride height lower than a Lamborghini Gallardo and just slightly higher than that of a Tesla Roadster. It also featured 19-inch front and 20-inch rear aluminum tires fitted over Nitto Envoy tires. And personally, I do really love the looks of the LC-750. Maybe it's because of the similarities to one of my favorites, the 12C, maybe because, no, it's absolutely because of its profile. Though it had previously been featured in multiple auto shows, the LC-750 came into the public consciousness with its February 2011 appearance on CBC's Dragon Den. Like its American counterpart Shark Tank, budding entrepreneurs get 3 minutes to pitch their business ideas to 5 multimillionaires who are willing to invest their own cash, time, and expertise to kickstart the business. After the pitch, the Dragons have the opportunity to ask questions about the venture and the possibility to provide investment in the company or idea. HTC co-founders Luc Sherrod and Carl Desauteaux put forward their pitch for Canada's first production supercar, asking $1.5 million for 20% of their company. Two Dragons offered to become partners in the company for 20% equity for $1 million, providing an additional $500,000 in loans, and acquiring the rights to purchase 3 LC-750s at cost, including the first car to be sold in Canada. This deal was contingent on a successful test drive, which during the transmission failed and the deal fell through. After the deal fell through on Dragon's Den, an unidentified party stepped in and provided the necessary funding to continue the project. HTT had also announced that they plan to produce 99 total units at a rate of 6 to 7 cars per year, with 6 cars already being pre-purchased at a retail price of $750,000 Canadian. By 2012, the company seemed to have completely disappeared, with speculation that the previous unidentified backer was scared off due to the myriad of issues surrounding the LC-750. Reportedly, the interior was not ready, only renderings of what it could be. The car could only run for several minutes before it would completely die, unable to restart. and even talk about switching from a 6.2-liter V8 to a 7-liter LS7, which undoubtedly was putting their engineering team under heavy workloads. All of these issues and the price dropping to $400,000 Canadian, or less than 40% than the original asking price, could easily scare off any potential investors or customers. A year later, in 2013, HTT announced the LC-1300, a revamped LC-750 with even more powerful 1,300 horsepower 8.2-liter V8 engine rumored to be from a Dodge Viper. In 2017, the LC-1300 was spotted at the Montreal Grand Prix and looked identical to the LC-750, suggesting that the only actual change done was to the powertrain. Once again, HTT promised a new launch with 99 LC-1300s to be built, which 5 years later, we still have not seen anything and it has not happened. And even actually the official site for HTT no longer exists. While I have no reason to doubt HTT, their founders, or their intentions to bring the LC-750 and or the LC-1300 to production, in 15 years since the original concept was presented, I'm highly skeptical that we will ever see any LC-750s or LC-1300s made other than the two show cars that we already know officially exist. With Canadian manufacturing playing such an integral role and many highly skilled Canadian employees in the auto industry, I hope that a Canadian supercar could eventually come to fruition. In the meantime, please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and leaving a comment down below on what you might think would end up in a possible Canadian supercar, or if we will ever actually end up seeing a Canadian supercar.